But I want to start with the visitors. 1-0 up in that game. Mitrovic early in the second half with the goal. Better team, I agree with Marco Silva, until the penalty, which, by the way, was the most blatant penalty you will ever see. It was a deliberate handball. It stopped the goal from going into the back of the net. It was an obvious red card. Now, what I can't get my head around is what Marco Silva saw that we didn't to prompt such an angry reaction from the Fulham manager on the touchline. And I think I heard Mickey Gray say it in commentary, and I agree. As a player, when you get one of those incidents that happens so quickly, you look over to the technical area, you see your manager and all of his backroom staff completely lose their heads, and automatically you assume there's been some kind of injustice, and you almost take the manager's lead. There wasn't an injustice. Marco Silva gets himself sent off. Mitrovic is a disgrace because of what he did to the referee. And ultimately, not only does that cost Fulham a potential place at Wembley, because even at 1-1, with 10 men, they would have had an opportunity to at least get extra time. With 9 men, they had no chance. They had no manager to urge them on either. But also, Mitrovic now, quite rightly, will face a very long suspension, and that will probably also derail Fulham's bid for a place in Europe. So all in all, for me, Marco Silva, the manager, has let his players down.
I have to agree with you on everything there, Crook. It's unlike me to agree with everything you've just said, but I do. I think as a player, I would, exactly as you said, I would look over to the touchline, especially now when you've got the technology, you can see the replays immediately and see the reaction of the manager. And I'd think, okay, there's clearly been an error. That's why Mitrovic has reacted the way he did. And listen, that was wrong. It was disgrace what he done. It's once again shown the inconsistency of referees in terms of what happened with Bruno Fernandes. He's got away with it. This was a lot more aggressive. I totally get that. And rightly, he got a red card. So we've seen the inconsistency once again from the referees. That was a disgrace, what Mitrovic has done. And he may suffer longer than a 3-match ban, depending on how they react to that. But yeah, it all starts with Marco Silva. And as you said, it was a blatant penalty. There was no question about it. Now, all that happens, all that should have happened is the red card, the penalty, 1-1, goal given, 10 v 11. Done.
And then you just try and grind it out.
Exactly. 10 against 11 is still difficult. It's still a difficult game. You rightly said, I think Fulham were the better side to start with. Manchester United didn't play well, but we always felt there was a way back into the game. But Fulham just gave them the game. They said, here, you have the FA Cup semi-final draw. It was lunacy from them all.
Yeah, I agree. Fulham fans, can you defend Marco Silva in any way? Do get in touch. 03717 22 3344. I think I've upset Joanna, the Sheffield United fan. She says, how dare you say Manchester City have a bye to the final? She also says, how dare this referee abuse be allowed to go on? We talk about it all the time. Still no action is taken. I'm fed up of listening to excuses, i.e. emotional, etc. The Fulham manager has only further set a disgraceful example by complaining about Chris Kavanagh, and in his post-match interview, you just heard it live with Jim Proudfoot on talkSPORT. If it was a player, they would be on about protecting his mental health. Where do you stand on that, Darren Ambrose?
But I agree. You can't go at the officials. Now, the manager sets an example to the players, not just the players, the supporters as well. Now, again, you don't know what's happening. You haven't seen the immediate replays. They have the technology to see it. What he's seen that's different to what we've seen in the studio on the TVs, different to what actually happened on the pitch. We don't know. We don't know. He hasn't answered that question. So I agree with, obviously, Mickey Gray as well and yourself. He sets the standards and he's let himself down. And as you said, if a player done that, the manager would be calling out the player. I just think it was wrong.
Richard Osman, celebrity Fulham fan, he's been on Twitter. He says, that was too good to last, ridiculous. Blatant handball leads to 3 sending-offs. What a waste of a great performance. So stupid. Our whole season finished in one moment of madness. I'm doing so much hard work. And I think most Fulham fans, most sensible Fulham fans will agree.
I agree as well. There's passion in the game, but then you go way over the top, and that was way over the top on a blatant penalty decision that was rightly given by VAR, by the way. I don't think the referee even gave that. How he didn't see that initially, I don't know. But VAR, come to the rescue. That's what it's used for. And then madness for the next 2 minutes. We was in the studio watching it going, why has this happened? Like, why are all the players kicking off? What have they seen that's gone on that we haven't seen? Like you said, Mitrovic, he's going to face retrospective action once again. But I have to say, once again, the inconsistency of referees. It was a lot more aggressive than the Fernandes, but has he become the victim of the bad officiating in the Fernandes situation?
Well, listen, Fernandes was lucky, no doubt about that, but you have to take this as a separate incident. He's raised his hands. It's on national television. That would have been a massive audience today, watching on ITV, listening on talkSPORT. Obviously, there's a lot at the moment, a lot of chatter about abuse of referees right down to grassroots level. I think the FA now owe it to all those officials at every level of the game to throw the book at Mitrovic. It needs to be a lengthy ban, and it needs to send a message that it can't be tolerated. Let's bring in Matthew, the Fulham fan. He's called 03717 22 Matthew, do you agree with myself and Darren Ambrose that Marco Silva in many ways has let Fulham down this afternoon?
Good evening, boys.
Evening.
No, I mean, I've been listening to what you're saying. I mean, to say he's let the club down is a bit of a stretch. I mean, for what he's done for the club since he's come in, I don't think I can sit here and say he's let the entire club down through not getting to Wembley in the first season in the Premier League.
It's not about not getting to Wembley, but it's that incident, as Richard Osman has said on Twitter, one of your most famous fans, that's ruined the whole season.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, from the away end, I fully agree. Well, you don't get signal in the away end. So what's happened is we've seen this chance. Initially, I thought Williams blocked it, and then you see Silva launch his water bottle onto the ground. He's furious, and then you see Mitrovic's reaction. So us as fans in the away end, we don't know what's gone on. So I fully agree with you. We've all gone mad, thinking we must have been absolutely stitched up here, and I can't fathom why Mitrovic has done it. My only conclusion is that we were playing so well and proving ourselves so much on that big stage there, that they've been so frustrated in the moment at what's about to happen. But yeah, three red cards. I mean, as they were coming like dominoes, it was you knew the evening was over, and it's such a shame to waste such a great performance. I agree with Mr. Osman on that.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, and exactly what we're saying here. Initially, the players, as well as yourselves, the supporters, they look at the reaction of the manager, who has immediate aftermath, immediate replays, and see the reaction and think, okay, something's gone wrong here. I mean, it was just total madness. I mean, where do you go from here now? You sat in ninth place, you're competing for Europe, and your season's potentially over now.
I don't think the season's over. I think we forget that we've got Carlos Vinicius, who's not been bad when he's come on. He scored the winner against Chelsea. He scored against Brentford, who are a good side. It's harsh on him to write off the season based on Mitrovic not being available. But when you talk about throwing the book at players, I'm still yet to see a ban for Ivan Toney. And I know this is a slightly...
There's an investigation that's still ongoing. Like, we know that. He's admitted it and he's declined some of them. So that's a total different situation to what we're talking about here.
Yeah, all right. But talking about Mitrovic, he's a passionate player. I mean, Silva's got to come out and defend him. We love him for what he's done for the club. He's a club legend. I mean, we can defend him to an extent. He's lost his head. I mean, has he hurt the referee? I've not seen it back. I've heard it was a very tame push and he was screaming, which is obviously a bit aggressive. But I mean, the United players have surrounded that referee, 8 of them in that game as well. Yeah,
but it's as soon as you make contact with a referee or any official, you're in trouble for the reasons we've already said. Matthew, thanks for the call.
Cheers, Matt.
I think I would have had a lot more respect for Marco Silva if he'd come out in that interview with Jim Proudfoot and said, look, it's an emotional game. I felt like we'd been on the wrong end of a bad decision. I've seen it back. We weren't. It was handball. I apologise for my actions. Mitrovic is out of order as well, and we move on. But to come out and almost launch a personal attack on Chris Kavanagh, it's a deflection tactic. I don't think it's on. I really don't. 03717 22 is the number to call. Keep them coming. 81089 on the text. You can tweet at talkSPORT. Have your say here on national radio.